Kia ora. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Erin Spencer. I am a second year, I think, PhD student originally from California. I'd also like to just thank my supervisory team, Nick, Chris, and Ren Saunders. They are working across the disciplines of health, sport, and arts to support in my research, so I really appreciate that. My prior career before doing any of this, I always feel so weird being up here because I totally feel out of my depth. I worked in public grants, so I worked on a lot of public projects with the Parks Department to ensure that we had parks and habitat areas that were funded by the government. So this is a little bit out of my depth, but very passionate about this research. So thank you for bearing with me. So here in New Zealand, what I've found is that research on queer identities specifically is really sparse. I was able to find this New Zealand-based study on the mental health of those with diverse genders and sexuality, which showed that they're at 3 times the risk of considering self-harm and suicide than their cisgender heterosexual counterparts. So my research looks to advance outdoor equity and inclusion as a way of promoting the positive impacts that can be gained by time spent in nature. This is really crucial as we continue to see health disparities among marginalized, magnified among marginalized communities through feelings of exclusion, in part due to social isolation and discrimination. So an intersectional approach to this research was really important for me. As you can see in this quote by the Trevor Project, this is a US-based survey, which in 2023 showed that 41% of respondents had considered suicide, with even higher rates reported among those who were gender diverse and people of color. So adding these additional marginalizations, such as queer and BIPOC, increases the Black, Indigenous, people of color, if you're unaware, increases the likelihood of disproportionate health outcomes, because suddenly you're not just contending with homophobia, but you're also contending with racism and misogyny, potentially alongside transphobia as well. So in this research, by uplifting the narratives from queer BIPOC individuals, I'm looking to counter the often seen hegemonic and heteronormative focus in an effort to better center these historically excluded voices. This will also help to highlight any barriers to access and uncover some of those potential risks as well from social isolation. So in my go-along interviews or walk-along interviews in the outdoors, this allows for me as a researcher to better co-construct the narrative meaning with participants. They're afforded greater agency through choosing the day, time, and place of significance in the outdoors to them. And interviewing in these natural settings also helps to alleviate some of the power dynamics that are felt by those under a microscope or feeling researched. So I really wanted to kind of mitigate those feelings of participants feeling like they are, just kind of being extracted from. So really this collaboration, this collaborative approach was really important to me as well. The outdoor interviews coupled with the intersectional approach provides the opportunity for greater collaboration, a more genuine representation of the stories that are being offered, as the participants are also given a copy of their transcript and allowed to make any amendments that they seem fit to make sure that these stories are being told by them versus, kind of interpreted by me. So I gave you some really sobering statistics that I have to deal with pretty regularly. This, coupled with the significant representation gap in research on sexuality in sport and recreation, particularly here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. But I just wanted to highlight this 2023 Ipsos poll that showed there is a growing population of LGBTQ plus New Zealanders. And New Zealand also had the highest level of agreement on the protection of transgender people from discrimination. So those were, that was something really positive that I kind of wanted to conclude on a bit. A couple things, other things to note, in 2023, our nationwide census for the first time asked households about sexuality and gender diversity. If you were here for our first keynote speaker, Justin from Sport New Zealand, I've been nudging them pretty much since I came here about including questions around sexuality and gender diversity in their active NZ survey. So he did say that that is in the works. So another win in my book. There's a lot more work to be done, obviously, in ensuring greater representation for gender diversity and sexualities. A lot more stories to be uncovered, but I do believe that this research is going to make an important contribution to what I believe is a very positive direction that we're still headed in. You know, I totally respect the political climate here, might have something else to say about that, but as long as we're all still working to kind of advance equity and inclusion, yeah, I hope for a better world, I guess. So thank you so much.